bring our amazing, incredible presenter to the stage, Andrew. Let's tell him about my shirt.
Oh yeah, gimme pillow toast. So I had a business which traveling to Asia every year, bringing back wacky, fun stuff. And it was a retail store, but also that was when Snooze just first opened, right over here. And so we collaborated with Snooze to come up with a dish called Gimme Pillow Toast. And then for like the release party of that dish, we made these shirts, which Brandy somehow still has. So that's awesome. So who am I? I didn't get too much of an intro, which is awesome. Usually like they say a bunch of stuff and you're like, no, I gotta like live up to that. So what about punk? Well, not quite yet. Let's talk about the punk PowerPoint challenge I created for myself. What's the most punk PowerPoint that you could do? And it would be a PowerPoint that has no image, no colors, no fancy PowerPoint swipes or bounces, sad face, animations. Not even a QR code. So I wanted to challenge myself to be able to do a talk with absolutely no images. Really, like, can I keep a room full of people's attention without, invoke imagination without relying on images? So let's see how it goes. You be the judge. Okay, now, who am I? So I do lots of things. I was born in Denver. I've lived in Denver my whole life. I love Denver. I love traveling. I love going outside of Denver and seeing how the rest of the world lives. I was in bands in the late 80s through the 90s, and maybe one of the reasons why I got asked to do this particular topic, because I was in a punk-ish band called Warlock Pinchers. Remember that? Yeah. You have all these different influences, like 5 different people in a band with entirely different influences. So we kind of made up something that didn't exist. And so like people called us punk because it was easy. But our lyrics and we had 2 lead singers, so it was very like MC hip hop kind of. But we didn't really fit in at punk shows. We definitely didn't fit in at rap shows or hip hop shows. It was very noisy, but not noisy enough to be like a noise band. So it was like we didn't really fit in anywhere. We really created something unique, and we played for 5 years. We quit in 1992. But we still get royalties from our record company, and we still sell merch and stuff. So it's pretty crazy to think something we did like over 30 years ago, people still recognize and talk about. So that's awesome. Some people know me as a crazy collector. I collect almost everything. There was a big art exhibition of my collections at the lab at Belmar. So it was this exhibition, and there was over 8,000 objects in it. So it's like, yeah, I collect pretty much everything. And I do photography. I do art shows, photography shows. I just finished a show a couple months ago where each photograph was a puzzle piece shape. And there was 20 pieces in the show, and so you could actually put that puzzle together, and I made little mini puzzles, so you could actually buy all the pieces in the art show as like puzzle pieces and then put it together. And then if you did put that together, then you could solve a word puzzle based on the titles, and then it would lead you to somewhere else in town, a historic place. And there was more other things to solve, and people would win a 1 troy ounce silver coin. So it was kind of a silver hunt. But that's kind of my idea. I never was trained. I've really never been trained on almost anything, so I just kind of make it up. And sometimes I do photo booths. Like you have photo booths where you wear like a funny hat and like take your picture, or like at an escape room. But like an example of a photo booth I did was called crime scene photo booth. So there was a bunch of like the crime scene like markers, like the yellow markers where you put at each part of on each thing of evidence, and we had a bunch of evidence, just like random things like a tire iron and a license plate and like a syringe pen. The idea is you would figure out, okay, how was I murdered, or how did I die? And then you set up a crime scene with the crime scene markers and whatever evidence you want, and we take a picture of you. And we were wearing coroner jackets, and so you get to have a picture of yourself in a crime scene. And then later replicated that up at the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park. There was a horror film fest. We did the same kind of thing. It was a a horror photo booth. So we had all sorts of things like, how did you die in the horror movie? Was it like an axe or a chainsaw, or we had like a raven, a Bible, like just all this stuff. So you set up the scene and then you lie down in it, kind of trying to push the limit of what a photo booth is. And I love doing food events. I created a ramen yatai for like an art opening. So that's like these little booths in Japan that like they kind of pop up at night and they go all night, and just like 6 chairs, and you sit and you eat something made right there. And so we did several different events. So there was like a Hello Kitty ramen, black metal ramen, where it was like black noodles and like a red hard-boiled egg. And then stuff like a black, all black ice cream shop. We did like as a pop-up for Denver Immersive and later for Fringe Fest. We had 6 flavors of black ice cream, but they all looked the same because they're all black. But the names of the ice cream were colors. So you could pick three flavors, which were named like red, orange, green, yellow, blue, violet. But you had to kind of figure out what flavors they were because they all looked the same. So it was kind of a fun like experiment in taste. I like creating something, a lot of times a one-time event. And puzzle hunts. So there's like puzzle rooms and stuff, but like I like getting out in the world and like getting people out, like especially during the pandemic. I worked with History Colorado Center, and we did 2 different years. We did like month-long puzzle hunts where people would pick up a dossier, and there was this whole story about this like missing book and stuff, and people had to go find. But people got to go to all sorts of historic places around Denver, which was cool. And so solving things and getting people out to the world and interacting with each other is the kind of thing I like to do. So.